What's good, YouTube? So there's been a new post from the PTR. So this is live right now in the test realm, if anyone doesn't know what the PTR is. So 7.3 is on there, and if you have an account on the PTR, you can play around and see what Blizzard are testing out numbers wise and the ideas they have before it comes onto the live server. So this is for patch 7.3, and the thing that caught my eye the most as a Feral Druid main, Blizzard has just announced some major updates in store for Feral Druids, including a 33% damage increase. Ooh. So we'll jump down and read exactly what this post is about, because it's all about Druids and specifically the Feral class. I don't think Boomy's mentioned all in this, it's just all about Feral. So for anyone that wants to play or has been playing Feral, has a Feral, frequently get on it and things like that, especially regarding PvE, you can put this on in the background, continue to play WoW or whatever it is you're doing, and we'll go through all the content. So I like how they start out straight away with high cats. Alright, so there's a number of changes to Feral Druids coming soon. The goals they're going for is to reduce, but not necessarily get rid of entirely, the dominance of the big three complex and powerful talents. Okay, so Savage Roar, Jagged Wounds, and Blood Talons. So Blood Talons makes you want to have to really make sure you use it effectively on your two biggest hits, which is Rake and Rip, or if not Ashamane's in the mix. Then you've got Jagged Wounds that bleeds things out quicker, and you also have to keep up the buff of Savage Roar. So the rotation is, you know, you can't be playing like some of the other classes. Frost Death Knight, for example. If anyone that plays Frost Death Knight, I'm not dissing you, don't worry. I have a DK, I used to play Frost. But I feel like the rotation's a lot easier than something like Feral. And if you screw something up on Feral, your DPS just plummets. If you miss a Savage Roar, then you got to build back up 5 combo points and get it back up and you get the deal, okay? So they're going to reduce how complex that is somehow. Balance out the power of the last 3 talent rows, making different builds, you know, more viable. Increase the skill floor and reduce how punishing it can be to error while playing the rotation, just like I talked about. And compensate for power level reductions of talents with baseline damage increase to the spec, so that at the highest level performance isn't really affected, but the bottom of the spec is brought up. So if you aren't doing the rotation exactly perfect, you're not doing 1k DPS per hour, but you know, it's just better. It's just baseline more frequent. Okay, so the most major changes to be simplified are all damage increased by 33%. Okay, Jagged Wounds reduced to 20, down from 33. So it's not all baseline buffs here, which the title leads you to believe. Okay, it's not just straight damage increase. Jagged Wounds reduced by 20%. Okay, so it doesn't bleed out as quick. Savage Roar duration increased by 50% at all combo points, so it's going to be up longer, but the damage bonus reduced to 15, down from 25. And finally, Blood Talons damage bonus reduced to 25, down from 50. So that's reduced by half. So overall, is this a buff or just a balance out? Okay, we've got all damage increased by 33%. Jagged Wounds tick slower. Savage Roar duration is up by 50%, but reduced by 10% damage. And Blood Talons damage reduced to 25%, where it used to be 50. So that's half damage reduction on the buff that Blood Talons gives you, okay? And they've got a little segment here that we'll read through. Looking back at the development of Feral Druids and Legion when Savage Roar was moved from a baseline ability to a talent tree, in order to bring the power level of the ability closer to most talents, okay? Used to be 25% damage to everything for a long duration is far stronger than most talents are. Rather than reducing its damage bonus, its duration was significantly shortened instead. This is what they this is what they have done previously, not this time. This contributed greatly to the over-constrained and overly punishing Feral rotation that you see on live today. Additionally, Jagged Wounds was added as a new talent, reducing the amount of free combo points Ferals have available to finishers such as Ferocious Bite. So normally the actual rotation, I'll just comment on here, was you never really got a Ferocious Bite off. By the time you built up 5 combo points, got the Savage Roar off, built up another 5 to get your Rip off, and you got Blood Talon, so things are bleeding out quicker. It was really hard just to keep up your bleeds and your buff as it was. Which was basically, back onto the segment, which was basically pushed out of the rotation entirely, as they comment there. Both talents probably would have been fine on their own, but taken together, in brackets, because they were the strongest, at live tuning, values led to a more pressured feral rotation than we felt was right. Another section here. Additionally, a few talents are being rearranged in the talent tree. So Jagged Wounds has moved from level 90 up to the 75 row, Savage Roar down to level 90 up from the 75 row, Brutal Slash to the level 90 from the level 100 row, and Loon's Guidance moved to level 100 from 90. So you have to choose now between Savage Roar and Brutal Slash, but you can run Jagged Wounds, Savage Roar, and a Loon's Guidance all at once. So things are going to change up there with how you can spec your cat. The primary gain here is moving Brutal Slash to a sort of multi-target AoE level 90 talent row, along with Sabertooth, which can be well utilized in a sustained low target situation, giving the level 90 row a solid talent for dungeons. And the level 90 will go again, is now going to be between Savage Roar and Brutal Slash and whatever's still on the level 90 there. For now, we want to go with an arrangement that keeps Jagged Wounds, Savage Roar, and Blood Talons on separate rows so that the most common live build is still possible. But they're going to change it so it's a little bit easier. Other less major talents or other changes include quality of life and tuning adjustments to some talents to balance out the rows. Okay, now I haven't read through these yet, I only had a quick skim before. So, Prow cooldown reduced to 6 seconds, down from 10 seconds for all Druid specs. Now that's pretty good. Now I think this is going to come across into PvP as well. When you have Incarnation, does it shorten it already down to 8 seconds or something, or was it always 10? But either way, the cooldown's been reduced, so even in PvP that's going to be something that comes across to live. Okay, so using Prow, you get back into stealth quicker, or if it does indeed affect Incarnation, well, you can go into Prow a lot more. You can get off more stuns now, and you can line of sight or go invisible on a cast and cancel that fear out, or Chaos Bolt, or Polymorph for some reason if they're trying to cast a Poly on you, but you can cat form. So that one is out the window. But you get the deal. Prow cooldown reduced to 6 seconds. Rebirth is castable in all forms and consequently is no longer affected by or consumes predatory swiftness, which is a buff. Sabertooth damage to Ferocious Bite increased to 20%. So what did Sabertooth used to be 15? Now it's increased by damage bonus increase. I don't know, that could be a build now. They said it was on like low target, so like I think maybe Sabertooth could be a solid choice to go for like a single target boss fight, but we'll have to see that. I haven't mentioned it too much throughout this. Incarnation King of the Jungle, energy cost reduction reduced to 50%. It was 60 and only allows the use of Prow once. What? This is to balance out the talent row with the new Jagged Wounds and reduce the frequency of rake stuns in PvP while still allowing Incarnation to function as an effective vanish. What? Boys, that's such a big nerf. You know how many stuns you can normally get off in that 30-second window? But now we can only get one? That's big, that one. That's a big nerf, actually. Moment of Clarity now causes Omen of Clarity to trigger twice as often and increases the damage of all the affected abilities by 25%. This is to better space out what is essentially a large energy proc and reduce slightly the impact that a single target has on the resource, income, and pacing of the rotation. Loon's Guidance cooldown reduced to 30 seconds, it was 45, and combo points granted reduced to 5 plus 5 over 5 seconds, down from 5 plus 8 over 8 seconds. Okay, so is Moment of Clarity going to be something we go for? I don't know, boys, but Incarn, Oh, that's a big, but I don't like the sound of that one, but we'll see how it plays out. And their final piece to add, overall with these changes, balance for the last 3 talent rows and consequently overall should be better in general. We expect the current most common build playstyle of Jagged, Wound, Savage Roar and Blood Talons to still remain one of the strongest builds, but it should no longer win by a huge margin over other competing talent builds, and also should be a little less strenuous to play. Okay, so it's on PTR and they may tune things more, but that's pretty much what they're going for with Feral. Let me know what you think in the comments below. But a lot of people down here as well are lost for words. He's so happy about this. A lot of people are happy. I had a quick read before. Honestly, I'm happy with these changes. They're just complaining about why it took so long to come in. But a lot of these guys are PvEers, right? It's mostly a PvE based thing. I think overlooked is that Incarn nerf. That's huge for PvP. Like, no one really cares in PvE. You don't have to stun much. But that can be huge. And as for the rest, I feel like our damage should stay the same overall, really, or close to it. But this might change up the build, especially when it comes to PvP, of what we're going to run. Maybe it'll be like Soul of the Forest is the way to go, paired with certain things now. So you just get heaps and heaps of combo points out, heaps of rips. But I don't know, man. I always loved my Incarn, and I'm a little bit worried. But hopefully you see more Ferals in PvE now. And yeah, I think this overall is a really good change to the playstyle of what it's like trying to keep up bleeds and buffs and things like that. So be sure to hit like and subscribe if you're planning to. Tell me what you think, and I will see you next time.